What's up, everybody, and welcome to the InCntrl podcast episode. What episode is this?
Episode
episode 1 post-COVID, to be fair. And it's been a while, obviously, with things going on and just how recordings were generally made. Now we're all from home and we're all experiencing all the upcoming games and all the new events and all the showcases from the comfort of your own home. So this is us, and as usual, I'm joined by Michael.
Yo.
And I'm joined by Alun as well. So hi guys, how have you been?
Surviving, man. Surviving. It's been very eventful. It's been a whole year, basically, nearly.
Yeah. This year hasn't it hasn't picked up the way we thought it would, to say the least.
It could be better.
It's one thing when you think about how you were counting down, 2020, how we were celebrating and screaming, not knowing we were coming into this horrible.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it on the bright side, it has given us, all of us, an opportunity to kind of just settle down and get back to the old stuff that we haven't been playing, and it gives us like that time to really look into the news. I mean, obviously you can't watch too much news because it's what can I say? You can get depressed very quickly watching too much news. but in terms of video game news, I mean, things have been looking on the up lately, especially towards the end of this generation.
Yeah, I mean, also it's really praise the fact that even though we've been going through what we've been going through, a lot of developers, these companies have still, been working at getting us content, releasing the stuff, keeping us up to date. A lot of them are working from home, So yeah, it's still pretty good. It's keeping us entertained.
Yeah. Speaking of entertainment, we are going to cover the Xbox Showcase 2020. I know Michael has been heavily amped for this, and there were a lot of new things on display. How did you feel about it, Alun? I mean, you watched the showcase as well. What were your first impressions before we get into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've been really ramping up and getting ready for the next gen. I sold my PlayStation 4 for the 4K TV, getting ready to kind of decide between which of the two consoles I'm likely to lean towards. And after yesterday, I can say my decision's been pretty much made. It's definitely the Xbox. Yesterday's showcase really impressed me for a number of reasons, which obviously we're going to discuss today. But yeah. I mean, as always, with a lot of these showcases, there are high points and low points. I wasn't sitting there ready to watch Tetris, that's just not for me. But on the whole, there were more things that I was happy with than not, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of games that were covered in this Xbox Showcase, to be fair. They went through quite a lot, and I think, obviously, the first impression I got was this was mainly Halo's party, and how they just presented it. They showed us the demo. Michael, how did Halo Infinite look for you? I mean, they showed us the open world, they showed us the ring, and they showed us some combat, and they gave us some details about the size of the map and everything. How do you feel? Were you always a big Halo fan? I can't remember if you're a Halo fan or not.
So I've never been a Halo fan, man. Like I used to be a Sony stan. I used to only play PlayStation games mostly. But no, you're right. Like for me, especially watching the pre-show, they really made it feel like it was just all about Halo. And I remember when I was watching the pre-show at one point, I'm like, yo, these guys just keep talking about Halo. Like I'm not into Halo. I'm not trying to watch this showcase specifically for Halo. I know a lot of people are, and I know it's supposed to be this big for them. But I was more excited for some of the other games and what other new games the developers were working on. So the actual demo, Halo demo, wasn't too much of an Like, it wasn't too much of an issue for me because, I mean, if I look at it from the outside, like people who must be into the series, I know that it looked similar to, like, in terms of gameplay, the old, Halo 1 style, like really frantic and so on. But then again, also
Yeah.
the graphics. And I think even just when we watched that, that's the first thing Alan said. He said, I wasn't too wowed about the graphics. For me, the graphics.
Oh yeah, it wasn't impressive.
Yeah, and the graphics looked really good when it was Master coming out of the ship. The way his armor and everything looked, I was like, okay, dope, But like, obviously, everyone's basically already seen what some of the complaints are with the,
Yeah.
it looks, some of the textures and stuff look very dated and, I don't know.
I mean, Master Chief had a few cool gadgets. He had the whole, he had the shield thing going on. He had the wire thing where you pull someone. Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was given a lot more to do. Well, more tools to fight with.
Yeah, and to be honest, most people that do play Halo and these games, the biggest thing they are really, really, really into is the multiplayer. So, that will also be very important for them to see what they're actually, doing with the multiplayer in that game.
Mm-hmm. No, Halo is definitely one of those games that I haven't really been, well, partly because I don't own an Xbox, obviously, but it's always seemed a game that has used the same elements over and over. And I know that's limited in saying because it's a shooter.
Yeah.
But it always felt like it hasn't really evolved into something different. And I guess if the formula is working for them, then why change it? You know what I mean? People will still be excited about Halo, and especially in the US, it'll always sell.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was the one that they were shoving in our faces as soon as it started, even though there were a lot of other good games in there, but it seems to be the main big boy there.
I think also it's also like the fact I'm really happy that they showed it first, because when they showed it first, I was like, okay, they've just been talking about this and this is what they've shown first, meaning we must have more content for us this hour. And I feel like, when you get into it, like obviously the debates and all this stuff, people are just going to keep talking about Halo specifically. And most of us don't play Halo. Most of us might play one of the other types of games that was shown. I think having a conversation just about Halo, like for me, doesn't really work because there were so many games that were shown at the.
Too many.
Yeah, there were so many.
There were 60 minutes.
Yeah,
and only 8 minutes were. It's literally just over a tenth of the time spent. Yeah.
Yeah, and for, I don't know, maybe because I display a lot more diverse range of games, but like for me, from that expo, the showcase, there were 12 games I saw there where I'm like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah, give us a run through. Give us a run through of the ones that stood out for you.
Okay. So,
for any of you guys, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also important people just look up on some other games, because I mean, if you looked at, for me, my list of 12 games that I saw, one, State of Decay 3, really cool trailer. Excited to see what they'll do, because State of Decay 2 first came out. They had a few issues running and performance and stuff, but they actually worked really, really well at patching it up. The Juggernaut edition is out, and they have like over 3 million players that play that game, online and so on. So having State of Decay 3, which is now going to be like a full-on AAA game, I think is also going to be a really big step, taking all the different elements they've learned before and adding them there. So I'm down to try that one out. Obviously, Forza, like you and I and another group, F1 guys, proper Forza next-gen game. Like some of the things I've read that the studio was talking about, how they're working on a dynamic air pressure system with the roads and the tires, and like they're really
Forza, that's not good.
Yeah, they're really taking these things to the next level, and that's really interesting, because right now in the racing market, there's a few games here and there, but for the most part, the last few years, Forza has actually been one of the the top racing games in terms of they compete, take on Gran Turismo, which was huge. So I'm down to see that. Obviously with ray tracing as well. Don't forget, they said they'll have ray tracing.
Oh yeah.
Another game, Everwild. You see, if you watch that Everwild trailer, man, that trailer was beautiful. Like,
Everwild looks good.
yeah, like I was like,
The music sounded fantastic too.
yeah. And the more I watched it, the more I was genuinely curious to be like, okay, how does this work? It might not even be a game for me altogether, but the way they showed the graphic style, the stuff we were actually seeing, the music, like you're saying, I was like, oh, dope. These guys are like these crazy ass, these hippie guys that are just taking care of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, that was a beautiful looking game. Another game, obviously, I was interested to see. Not necessarily up there or anything, but like I have the outer worlds, which I still haven't got to, which I was very hyped for, being a Fallout fan and so. Just them showing the DLC. DLC also is going to be on PlayStation, I think, but I don't know if it's timed or so on.
Okay.
After that, the best trailer I've seen this decade, hands down, like killed me, was Grounded, man. Like when I watched that trailer, bro,
Grounded, yeah.
I was like, these guys, man, you just go and drop Cyberpunk like that, And, the thing I really liked about it was the humor, obviously, but you could see it was like kind of like in that Minecraft type vibe, And I'm excited to my mates, like literally when that guy said like leave your friends to die and run solo, I could literally see and hear the argument. Like this stuff popping off, So that was pretty good. My number one game, and bear in mind I've just mentioned how many games. That's 5. I haven't talked about it. Number 6, this game for me was the biggest game, and that was Avowed. Like when you really look at the catalog of who Obsidian are and the games that they've made, their track record, they literally set the standard with the way we play RPGs now. There would be no Mass Effect without Knights of the Old Republic 2. The way Fallout New Vegas was another game, Alan, you mentioned. I didn't even know they had done. But like also Pillars of Eternity.
Pillars of Eternity, Tyranny. I mean, any of the Wastelands 2, any of these now also PC games with focus on controlling a team and going out and exploring a world, dialogue choices, effects on the world. These guys for the last 10 years have been absolutely slaying that in terms of quality. And with their limited budgets, they've been killing it.
And, it also goes into play. Like so many times, sometimes people, we want exclusives, we want new things. But then we might be hypercritical of the same new things we're talking about, in the sense that if we had to time travel, when I would talk to you about what The Witcher was, no one knew CD Projekt Red. They'll be like, oh, okay, yes, it's a small studio, but I'm like, bro, these guys made The Witcher. It was really dope, The Witcher 2. But when they got to make the first AAA game, which was The Witcher 3, now everyone talks about CD Projekt Red like, we've been playing the games a whole lot. So this is the same. Obsidian are on that level, if not even slightly above what CD Projekt Red were when they were now going into Witcher 3. You see what I'm saying? Obsidian have that much of a track record. They just never had that much huge.
So why they catalog games? Yeah.
Exactly. And not only to see that, but the fact that we have, that's like the trailer was that, it's not CGI trailer. We haven't seen much, but it was really important that they showed us him preparing for combat. That was like really just letting you guys know this is an Elder Scrolls like game. The fact that he had his sword out, casting magic. Like they literally imagine the trailer and they didn't show that. That was so important for them to be like, we are making a Skyrim like game. This is the game we've always wanted to make. And bear in mind, they're the same guys who are making Grounded and that made, the Outer Worlds as well. So
they're definitely on a good run. I mean, obviously, when they just show us a clip like that, it's gonna be years before we see any gameplay. But still, it's encouraging. It's encouraging to see that they are going in the magical open open world space. I mean, that's always going to be exciting to jump into. And it seems like Skyrim always set the standard in terms of exploration back then. Obviously, they set the standard for exploration and magic and folklore, and obviously there were other games that came later, but everybody just remembers Skyrim, and it'll be interesting to see how they go forward.
Just on that point, though, I do also want to say that you're very right in Skyrim is the game that everyone remembers, but I would say for long-term fans of that series, a lot of people hold their previous title, Oblivion, in higher regard. Yeah. And when you look at, the people who played Oblivion, and then now before Skyrim came out, like all of the talking points that they said that the game's going to have, like when they used to say, wield anything in your right hand, wield anything in your left, the way you can combine it, increase your magic, coming from a game where literally you are trapping enemy souls into soul crystals, you're creating spells. You're literally saying, I'm going to use this much MP, it's going to be a beam, it's going to be an area of effect. You're literally creating magical spells. So for people who are coming from that game and playing this, it was a bit of a letdown. Overall, it was still a good game, but based on what they had sold to us, we did expect more. And given that that was Bethesda coming from Elder Scrolls 4 to Elder Scrolls 5, you also look at Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas. And for a lot of people, the Fallout that everybody remembers and praises is New Vegas. And that was done by Obsidian. They seem to have a very good knack at getting this source material, understanding what works about it, and being able to put their own spin on it. And, it just ends up more often than not being some of the best in the franchise. Again, things like Wastelands 2 and so on. People have been very happy with Outer Wilds. Again, even though they have their limited budget, this whole Fallout in space has done very, very well. So I am very confident that this game is in good hands. I feel that they, now with the budget and the backing, are going to be able, like they say, to make the game that they want to make. And as you say, it's definitely early days and it's going to be a while before we see it. But that is, I agree with Michael, for me, my most anticipated game, just knowing who's developing it and what their actual specialty is. And also, by the way, it's actually set in the realm of Pillars of Eternity, the two games that they've made thus far, which has very interesting lore. So even what's going to be going on in the world, I'm very confident it's going to be definitely interesting and fun to delve into.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there were also a lot of independent games. I mean, we saw that. Was it Tell Me Why, the Life of Strange looking kind of game, and I mean they seem to be capturing a lot of these smaller studios to just get out these games that are going to be for the next generation. And I think at the moment, it seems like they just want the numbers at first, and getting the Obsidians and those guys, they will be the poster boys of the next generation, yes. But then they also seem to be doing very well with getting, which some people will call them like it's a little bit boring, and some people will look down upon it. But I think that they're on the right track, Xbox. They still do need to show us a little bit more and show us what the true power of the Xbox is going to provide for us. But I think that just comes with time.
Yeah. I still got a few more games on the list, even after all that, like just real quick, As Dusk Falls, that one will be pretty interesting as well.
I don't remember seeing that trick.
Yeah, so As Dusk Falls was basically from the it's new studio. Studio head is from, he was the lead game Quantic Dream. I'm sure people have played Heavy Rain.
Okay.
Yeah, you've played Detroit Become Human. Yeah, this guy has his own studio now, and it was the one that was more like the painted effect game. Lots of choices. Yeah, stuff like that. Those are not normally the number one games I'm playing, but I always tend to play those games. I played all of them besides from Fahrenheit. So I always like those types of games, and I'm also curious to see that.
Yeah.
And again, next game.
I played a game like that back in the day, but it was about It was a Japanese comic book game, and I've just forgotten the title, but it turned erotic real quick. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that game. Yeah, what's the next one?
Is we didn't see anything, and this is a big game, and this is why I keep talking about, like, don't get too caught up in this whole narrative of just one game. Another game that we have to see is Hellblade 2. This game is developed on 5. They really want to go big with the scope. I was hoping we would have seen more, but they literally didn't really show us much. But knowing that also in the works, I'm very curious to see how that does. Hellblade 1 has done really well, especially since they announced Hellblade 2. The sales even went up more. So a lot of people have actually familiarized themselves with the game. Another game after that is The Medium. Now, for me, that's like, I would say number 2, like, that I saw during that conference. One is the aesthetic they're going for, and knowing some of the people that are working on it, knowing the soundtrack from Silent Hill 2, it's the same guy. And Silent Hill 2 is one of the echelons of a psychological horror game. Like, they set the standard in terms of the things they did in that.
I would say that, along with what's that game? The one with the robotic female AI. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name right now.
Yeah, but not talking.
It's annoying, right? But between those 2 games, Silent Hill 2 specifically, those are the pinnacle of psychological horror games, like, for a number of reasons. But definitely, like you say, one of the big reasons why is the mood, and the mood is created by the music as well. So, it's in a lot of ways a spiritual successor to it, but they're actually getting people who were a part of it into it as well.
Yeah.
And then, also talking about next gen, the fact that this game is rendering twice simultaneously, that is a huge talking point for me, where I'm like, that is very ambitious and very cool. The fact that you have 2, literally, and it's like you're influencing both worlds. You have a huge opportunity for some really, scary moments, dynamic moments as well. So for me, that game, like, I think I mentioned it, the first showcase they had, I'm like, this game looks interesting. And seeing now being dual run and stuff, that was really cool for me to see. Next game, sorry, I'm just trying to list them as quickly as possible.
No, you can run through them, man. I mean, it's always better. Yeah.
Next game is Stalker 2. Now, Stalker was a very, like, for people that got to play, it was a very hard game to run at first. Most of us didn't have good enough PCs and so on. But it was this, like, a survival.
2007 or so.
Yeah, it was like how you have your Metro Last Light? Now imagine Metro, like a hardcore version of Metro, but like, survival. You have to have your water, your food, your supplies, and, different people you interact with will affect your outcome of your game. And if you, like, go onto the Stalker 2 website right now, they have an FAQ where they're literally just telling people what they're doing with this game. And one of the things they've said, this is going to be the biggest open, simulated open world to date. That's what they want to do. And there's a whole bunch of things that they've listed there in the game. And I think it'll be really good for people to, take a look at it, I think it'll be a really, really cool game, especially like the psychological side, the survival side. It's a big game that's going to be coming to PC and Xbox. After that, Crossfire X, that game looked really dope. I really like the trailer. That's another game I'll get for, I always have these games I get for Sam. The story looked like very story driven, the visuals look really dope. I'm curious to see more about that game. Yeah. And finally, Fable. I know people.
Fable was a very big announcement.
Yeah, huge announcement. Some people were saying, hey, I wish we could see gameplay, but it's like, yo, this wasn't about seeing gameplay.
No.
When people just let you know a game is being made, this is what that moment was. takes me back to, like, for example, FF7. The first time you guys saw that trailer where you're like, yeah, this game is being worked on. That's what this was. And so many people didn't know.
Fable is a
I think
huge,
that's
it is a huge announcement.
Yeah, it's a really big announcement. So the last thing, this is not a game, the fact that everything I just listed down that I'm interested in playing, and even why I have more interest in playing, is that these games are all going to be on Game Pass. And for me, that is crazy. I did an estimation at, you know, the next gen rate at 70 USD. That list of games is worth $840, you know? And for me to be able to play those games on a Game Pass is like the other announcement, you know what I mean? That really just gives more impetus.
Game Pass is such a smart initiative because you are able to play games for a short period of time that you would have never wanted to spend your money on. And you might find yourself completing a game that you just wanted to try out for a couple of hours, and it's still under that $15. I mean, Game Pass will always amaze me, like in terms of just the sheer catalog, of games that are there. You know, it's impressive. It really is.
Yeah. So I was, all in all, I was actually very, very happy with the lineup. I think it's also due to having a different expectation. I think we need to realize that the model that Microsoft have been going with the Xbox and everything, is not the same model we as gamers are used to, you know, expecting or debating about, where it's like, who got this exclusive? What is this exclusive? With Sony, that's what they're trying to do. They hang on, you know, the exclusive games that they have. They get units. They still units from those games. With Microsoft, it's now turned more into, this service is actually bigger than any console. They don't care what console you have. If you're going to be on PC, you're going to be on Xbox or mobile, you know, with xCloud. They just want to make sure that the games they're showing as exclusives as well are just there to service the people who are subscribers and to get you to subscribe, you know, because if you look at the money, bro, they already have over 10 million subscribers since 2017. That's more than EA, that's more than Ubisoft, that's more than Sony, that's more than so many of these other streaming platforms that have started. An example is, you know, with PS PS Now, they have 1 million subscribers. These guys have 10. And then you multiply that by $15 a month or $9 a month. That's, I think, what it is, that every month we can churn over $100 million. So let's just keep getting these games put on, like Dragon Quest and so on. Keep the Game Pass, you know, active, and, you know, that's kind of what the new, you know, focus is for me.
That's true. I get the feeling that Xbox is in the lead in terms of the subscriptions, especially with the lineup, and Sony in the market. It's the PS Now has taken a few hits, and it's only been in the last couple of years where they've started adding in big titles like Spider-Man and the Uncharted series, and you can tell they're trying to more players. But I think Xbox have done a very good job in marketing their Game Pass. Their marketing has been top notch. I mean, the games there on the roster are high. I mean, you've got things like GTA on there, which, you know what I mean, which people are still buying. So yeah, you know, so I think the routes that they're taking in terms of the service itself in playing games is it's a good way. It's a good way to go. You definitely won't have the most spectacular game conferences, but yeah, I see where they're going.
Because taking everything that you guys have said throughout this whole thing, like PK, like you said, we're seeing a huge variety of games, whether that be acquiring big RPG studios or doing literally interactive comics and, like, you know, Life is Strange type of games. They seem to be taking this approach of trying to get as wide an audience as possible and to have games that will cater to at least, you know, different individuals. You'll have at least one game that you will look at our library and say, this is something that I really like. And you will have a large catalog of games, like you're saying, that you otherwise might not have tried. Same example, like you just said, both you and Michael haven't delved into Dragon Quest 11 that much, because you have to also think to yourselves, you know, is this something I'm going to put money towards? Am I going to have the time to play it?
Yeah.
To have so many of these options that you can at least hop in, hop out of. If it's not your cup of tea, if it is, then you can continue to finish it, as you've said. You know, for example, Ole isn't the biggest fan of some of these horror games, but to have the idea of saying, you know what, everybody's talking about Resident Evil 2, for example, I can have the option of popping in, seeing for an hour or two, okay, I see the references, I see what's good about it. If it's not something for me to finish, cool, I can bounce.
Then you can drop it. Yeah.
And again, the same conversation of exclusives, because someone was talking to me yesterday saying, yeah, I didn't see anything from a conference that's on the level of Spider-Man, types of games that you like. If you love your Horizon Zero Dawn and you're looking forward to that on the PlayStation 5, power to you. But the way that I see it is, as Michael said earlier, you've got a dedicated group who wants to play the Halos, who wants to play the RPGs from both sides, but then now you're adding on this side all of these exclusives that we've just talked about today, part of Game Pass, as well as their backward compatibility games. Or there's just such a huge library that you get to sit down and enjoy for $15 a month. And mind you, that $15 includes online play. It includes you being able to get these games on your PC as well. In terms of value for money, I have never seen anything like this in my life. This is arguably the biggest change in terms of a service for gaming since Steam was invented. And absolutely applaud the fact that this is coming from Microsoft. These are, you know, billionaire companies, and they didn't have to go down this route, but they are paving the way. And I'm sure that we will now start to see PlayStation and Nintendo kind of get similar type of model structures. But the fact that Xbox decided to do it first and is already doing it so well just absolutely amazes me. I'm so excited for it. And that is the biggest reason why I've decided I'm going to get that Series X, just because the catalog of games I'm going to get and the value I'm going to get is through the roof, absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, and just to touch on one of your points there.
It's looking good. It's looking good. The showcase went well.
Yeah, just that's one of Alan's points there. I think you already made it very clear. But you know, we as gamers, we always comment on the current landscape of gaming. And, you know, when we have our loot boxes or we have companies trying to force these games as a service and so on, we always voice out our opinions. We always come out against that and say, we want this, we want that. This is a moment we need to, if you are a gamer, as a gamer, you need to realize that this is something that is very big for us as gamers. Whether you play on PlayStation or Nintendo, Xbox, all of them, PC, doesn't matter. This is something that we need to actually encourage and, you know, actually celebrate. Say, oh, I now expect, I want the company I'm buying my consoles from, you know, because this makes life even better. You know, this is bigger than, you know, console wars or whatever. To have a service like this, if you're a PlayStation user, you need to have something like this. It's only right. Like, you can have your loyalties and you have your games that you want, but these guys are making you pay full price, and there's an opportunity that you can get some of the games you haven't played, or older games, or games you love, or new games on some sort of subscription, you know? And I think for me, that's why I'm really proud of this conference as a whole. Yes, you had your lows, especially people who are just really into Halo and so on, and that didn't look as good as it wants to be. For me personally, it's not really my type of game I'm looking forward to, but we can't like forget about everything else that we saw, or not really appreciate everything that we saw. Look into what some other, you know, it wasn't just
exactly.
It wasn't just
no. It wasn't just 10 minutes of flashing Tetris, but
just that.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. The service itself is amazing, and I can't even deny that. These showcases, there's so much expected from them now. and you want fireworks and you want the AAAs, just you want the money blowing up in your face. But in the end, it's a slow process. And even the year that we've had, and the fact that we're even easing our way into the next gen, and everybody has to upgrade their TVs, and it's a slow process. And I think Xbox are on the right path. Obviously, Sony, they'll have their own different strategies depending on their strengths and weaknesses. But this was a good move from Xbox, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having said that, it's been a while since we've spoken to the InCntrl people. What have you guys been playing? Alan, what have you been playing lately?
Well, like I said, having bought the TV and the 2 years ago, I invested so much.
So your PS4 is gone now. You're off the Sony bandwagon.
It's gone. And it's so sad because literally my plan was to sell a bunch of things, get some money quickly, get this TV specifically for Final Fantasy VII Remake. And the irony is I don't have a PlayStation right now, so I can't even do it. So I've had to, find other games and ways that I can, enjoy my investments. Yeah. And I've actually been playing a lot of older titles because I'm kind of seeing them in a brand new light. Metal Gear Solid 5, when I played and finished it, I was playing it on my old PC up to maximum settings on 4K at 60 frames per second. It's like a brand new game for me. And it's amazing. And there's several older games that I've been doing that with, which also, again, gets me more excited for the possibility of Series X's backwards compatibility and improving some of the older games. But otherwise, it's really just been, I guess, the usual, your Monster Hunters, the games that I can just delve in and just spend dozens of hours on. But otherwise, it's just been more work and trying to save that money for what's to come at the end of the year.
I mean, you have to be prepared at the tour. You have to be prepared for what's coming at the end of the year, especially the type of year that we've had. And what about you, Michael? What have you been playing lately? I know you have a big backlog like I do. Yeah. So I don't know what you've been running through during the pandemic.
The pandemic, man. Okay, so obviously we had a huge update. We had this thing called a battle pass that we get for Dota. So I was, I was playing through that, playing a lot of Dota.
How do you get the battle pass? You have to pay for the battle pass separately, right?
You pay for it, but it comes with loads of new skins and specials and terrains and all that stuff. Yeah. So that I've also been playing. I trying out games on Game Pass. You got your Sniper Elite 4, which I played a Sniper Elite. I think it was 2 or something way back when. But hello. So it was your Sniper Elite 4, which is actually, I was really impressed because, I hadn't really, I knew you had the kill cam and everything, but playing that game on hard with the realistic ballistics, it feels like Metal Gear Solid 5. It's that type of open world. You land, and then you have to figure out how you want to, solve this mission. You have to take out 3 Nazi guys, but you have this whole open sandbox and areas you can go to, weapons you could find, really, really nice. I'm really enjoying it so far. Also been playing...
Can you turn off that slow-mo kill cam thing? That slow bullet thing?
Yes, where the text blowing to pieces, that game, yes. Really, really fun, man. It's really fun. And I also finished Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Okay.
Yeah, that was difficult. That was difficult. Finished that game. I'm teasing myself with this Dead Cells game, man. I don't like roguelike games at all. But there's something about it that I hate it, but I'm let me just try again. It's actually, I'll get back to you on that one. And lastly, if I remember correctly, oh yes, Dark Souls 3 again, but Desperados 3. I don't know if you guys have seen that game.
Mhm.
It's
No, I don't think I have.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like a stealth game. But the way you do things is like you control multiple party members, you know, and you have to be able to
Ah, okay. Okay, yes, I know.
like, you know, how you're gonna deal with issues. Mostly, if you get caught in that game, you are dead. Like the game is quite.
Looking at it now, this reminds me of Commandos. Commandos on PC from back in the day. Did you guys ever play Commandos?
Definitely, it's that type of game.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that should be it. I mean, I'm about to figure out which game I now want to deal with in terms of like full-on backlog. I'm thinking about Assassins.
Yeah.
That's basically where I'm at with
Odyssey?
Yeah, Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey was good. I spent too long in there. I didn't even finish it, but I spent. It's the islands are huge, and travel time is it's a beautiful game. You're gonna have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. And you, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a little bit of Monster Hunter. I've only pumped in a few hours into Monster Hunter. Not as much as I hoped, but I'm hoping that this period I can actually just get it over and done with. And then there was a huge update. There was an update worth 45 GB, and I'm like, what are you updating in this game? Hasn't this game been out for a while? Why is there 41 GB being downloaded?
To go through. Oh my days.
Oh, it's madness. So I think Monster Hunter will be one of my primary concerns next week. Red Dead Online is finally getting an update, and you know I've been passionate about being a cowgirl, yeah, for a while now. And people.
First time you guys were playing.
Yeah, and people, you know, it got so bad that community got so toxic that people started dressing up as clowns.
Really?
And the bugs were just infuriating people. Yeah, you could find like a whole clan of clowns in a server because they're like, the joke's on us because we keep playing your silly game. So and the update is coming out on Tuesday, so I might jump on that. But I think for now I'll just focus on Final Fantasy VII. I think it's long overdue. I'll get that out of the way.
Very eager to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I'm keeping an open mind. Obviously, it's not the 7 that changed the world, but it's a 7 that we deserve. So
the 7 we're getting, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. It's the 7 we're getting. So I'm not gonna be too. My standards won't be too high, but I heard it's beautiful and it looks good. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay, I mean that's a good catch up. At least we're back to it. You know, we've been missing for the longest time, understandably.
Yeah. We need to do more of this. We need to meet up more often like this, guys.
I think definitely we should have some more. We should have another pod soon. It's really been hard, obviously, dealing with what we're dealing with. But I think, you know, with just Zoom meetings and so on, I think we should be able to, you know, get
True. I mean, and it also gives us time to just reflect, sit back, play your best games, watch your best movies. You know, go through a lot of the stuff that's been sitting at home, and I think we just have to ride this year out.
Let go. What can we do? August 1. Let's see. August. We got 2 more conferences before about launch time. Sony has 1 more conference. Microsoft has 1 more conference. I'm sure by then we'll know prices. We'll know whatever last few games they've been hiding. Sony, I'm sure they have to have something as well. Games-wise,
I'm sure we have to know the prices soon. I'm sure we have to know the prices of these consoles soon.
I give it a month max. Man.
Microsoft didn't show us 6 studios, so they might have some stuff from them as well at that conference. So it's big August.
Okay, then we'll definitely cover those, and I think that's about it. Unless you guys have got any more to cover.
No, man. Just to say what's up to everybody that's watching this. We're back.
Hope you're all doing well.
Yeah, we're back. We're ready.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Games mean more now. There ain't nothing else to do. So
I mean, what else did you do? There's no more guilt of going on a 4-hour binge in a made-up world. Yeah. All right, then yeah, that about covers it. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, then they can comment on our page. And also, if you want to link up and play with other people, make groups, talk about video games, you can join our Discord group or interact with our Twitter, IncntrolGaming ZM. And then, yeah, we'll put all the details in the video below. And yeah, have fun gaming, and everybody stay safe out there.
Nice one.
Yeah.
All righty.